Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Let's Play episode of the Yeti Land. In the last episode, we started sculpting our base female Yeti. So if you haven't seen that episode, go check it out. And in this episode, we're going to be finishing our female Yeti. So stay tuned and let's check it out. Alright, if you guys do like this video and this series, please be sure to smash that like button so it tells me that you guys are enjoying it, and I'll continue doing these. Tell your friends, share it on Facebook, share it on social media. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. We have plenty of Planet Coaster content. Let me know what you guys think of this episode down in the comments below. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, here we go. So, we're just going in here, adding some final details to our Yeti, our female Yeti. And I think we're going to actually start building the face really soon. I'm just looking at it all. Yeah, right here. So I was thinking, well, what happens if we take his face and put it on her? And this is all experimentation. And it looks absolutely downright ridiculous. And I'm very clear of this in my mind. But I'm also just having fun. You know, this is a process where you're experimenting, playing with things, testing things. And you just gotta go with it. So, you know, eyes were way too big, so maybe we'll use smaller eyes, see what that looks like. And it's just really just a process of feeling it out. And, you know, I'm a little bit worried at this point, because how do we make this Yeti feel feminine? So I'm playing around with different things. So maybe a pink mouth instead of a red mouth. And, you know, just maybe if we make the nostrils smaller, that'll help. And, you know, just make everything a little bit more petite. We shrunk the eyes down. If we make the nose smaller, make all the facial features feel a little bit smaller and more petite, that should help in making her feel more feminine. So I shrink the nose up here, and this will change drastically. So I know you guys are probably thinking this looks ridiculous and I've wasted 2 episodes on this darn thing and it's just gonna look atrocious. So, you know, that concern was in my head too, but I know animation and characters and stuff like that, so I knew in the back of my mind I would be able to salvage this. So I'm just kind of I think I got a Steam message here from somebody, sorry. And so anyways, yeah, I knew I was going to be able to salvage this, and it's just going to be a matter of massaging it until it looks right. And one of the biggest problems here was the teeth. She's too crazy looking, and that's more suitable for him. So this is something that gets a major rehaul later on, and I'm just really playing with things as I go. So I don't want to really delete the teeth yet. I want to try and make them work and see what I can make this look like before I go to plan B. But I always have a plan B and even a plan C. So we're just trying to sculpt out her head a little bit, try to make it fit the face. And I didn't realize this right now, but it's something I realized later on, and I might even have fixed it off camera in between episodes, is the face was too high up. It should be level with the shoulders, because that's kind of like the Yeti design that I was going with. If you saw the, what was it, the first episode, I showed the Yeti design that I found on Google, and that was the Yeti that I'm going with, is the big kind of light bulb with arms coming out. So these I'm just adding in little circles for rosy cheeks, and I'm thinking that might help. All these little tiny details will, you know, I'll try and add things to make her feel more feminine. And I know the mouth does look crazy, so I'm just trying to add things and see if I can make this work before I go to plan B. So I want to add maybe like red lips. So I know it's a little bit ridiculous having lipstick on a giant Yeti, but hey, why not? I mean, we're just having fun. We don't have to be too serious about everything that we do. Just play around with things. So I'm just shrinking down the mouth, deleting some of the teeth. Now, like I said, I wanted her in the last episode, I wanted her kind of yelling. So this is why I'm really trying to make the teeth and mouth work, because I want her at the top of this mountain with her arms out, like kind of just like screaming. And in order to do that, we're going to have her mouth open. But the craziness of all this with the lips and The teeth, looks like she's been Botoxed out, and she looks kind of like an atrocious monster. But, I mean, isn't that what an abominable snowman is, after all? So I guess it works, and this is kind of my thought, was, well, if she's not pretty, and she's not cute, well, I mean, so be it. But I do want her to be somewhat cute. You know, I don't want this atrocious Yeti on the hill that looks like a disaster, because that will make me want to just delete it. So I have to have it somewhat appealing in order to pass my Q&A approval, or QA approval, quality assurance. So here I'm just taking another eyeball, and I figured that would, if I position it properly and crash it in, I can get like an eyelid, and that eyelid can be colored with some pink. That way it will make it look like she's got eyeliner of some sort, pink eyeliner, and that's going to help add the feminine cuteness to it. And I'm really just trying to shrink down the mouth because it just looks terrible, and I'm not happy with it. So she's looking pretty beastly, and I'm just looking to keep adding things. So I thought maybe I could use one of these shapes here to add like a fan of eyelashes. The problem is it's kind of covering up the eyeliner that we put in. So I knew that wasn't going to work. I wanted to adjust the nose, maybe flip the nostrils upside down, maybe because she's got this little bit of a pig nose going on, which is fine. I mean, the other guy has it, but we want to try and avoid that with her. So I'm looking through all the new pieces, trying to figure out what can I do for eyelashes. And I found this little pipe. It's a new little smoking pipe. And I thought, oh, that's perfect. So if we position these in, we can actually get some eyelashes, and it's not like a fan of eyelashes like the other one, where we can actually still see the eyeliner. And that should really help bring out the fact that she's feminine. She's got some mascara on and all that stuff. It's a little bit ridiculous, I know, but we're supposed to have fun. It's Christmas time. It's the winter festival. So I'll do what I want. I'll do what I want. And we're going to make her as glamorous as possible for a Yeti. And I had some troubles here trying to get just duplicating them to save time. And I really should have just redone it, because I fiddled with this for quite some time, trying to get it in place properly. And yeah, it just I should have just done it one by one again. But what can you do? So I just going in here, adjusting all of these little smoking pipes, redoing the eyelashes, trying to get them on top of that perfectly. And yeah, it works out pretty good. I like the little eyelash effect here. Pretty happy with it. So not too bad. But she still doesn't look right, and I'm going, oh well, let's make the nose, flip it again, because she's got her eyes tilted outward rather than inward. She doesn't have the angry face like he does, so I figured I'd do the same with the nostrils. Here I'm adding little bows in. I thought maybe little bows would help sell the fact that she's kind of cute and less aggressive than the other guy. And I do like this, but it's not quite enough yet. And yeah, we're just slowly layering her up, trying to get her cuter, and it's not working. She's still atrocious. So moving the eyeballs in a little bit closer, just like he has, maybe that'll help make her a little bit more innocent looking. And the nose still feels too big, the mouth still feels too big. And this is just, I'm kind of freaking out in the back of my head going, what have I done? This is an absolute mess. I mean, I feel like I wasted my time, because she does not look very good. But I won't give up. Just got to make it work. So I had the idea here to add in hair. Maybe hair will also help. So I take the thinnest brush possible, and I'm sort of making like dreadlocks. So just pulling out these little dreadlocks and adding that in. And it is helping. It definitely is helping. And it's making her feel a little bit different than the other Yeti. And it's giving her her own unique feature, which is separate from his. Adding a little bit more character to her. So I did like the dreadlocks, so I go with it and I just complete it, pull it down a little bit more, shape it in around all sides. And I didn't want to go too crazy with it, so we're just doing it on the top of the head. And with the other guy, for his fur, we just painted it in with the cracked ice texture, and we just put patches all over him, where she's not going to be as hairy as him. So I figured these dreadlocks that we have, we can use that cracked hair texture on the dreadlocks, and then everywhere else she'll be a little bit more smooth. We'll just use regular snow. So yeah, still looking at her going, oh God. And the real problem is the mouth. So is this where I change it? Nope, I just start going with it. I still, in the back of my mind, I think I know I'm going to make this work. And I just want to do the hands, I guess. So we're pulling out some fingers, adding a little bit of weight to them. And one thing with this game is, you see me zooming in and out there, the further away you get from things, it has something called level of detail. So they swap out models with lower polygon models, and you'll see it a lot, and you'll see that that's when things pop a little bit. And that's the LODs switching out so that they are cheaper when your camera's zoomed out. The models swap out. The same thing happens with the terrain. So if you have terrain pieces that are really small, they might even disappear. So I keep adjusting the girth and the width of the fingers and the arms because they're completely disappearing from a certain camera distance. And I want them to still be visible from far away. So I have to get the fingers as fat as possible so that when you get the camera out a little bit, that they're still visible. And it's just something that you got to keep in mind. And this is also why she was so much more difficult and probably took twice as long to make than the other Yeti, because everything was so much, just a little bit smaller, which made me have to face these challenges where things are disappearing and I have to add more weight and shape to the geometry as I go, because I don't want it disappearing. So she's a little bit more optimized, I would say. Like from a distance, she chunks down and becomes a little bit smaller than him, where you can see him from anywhere on the map as far out as you can go, and she kind of tends to lose her hands and stuff as you go. So yeah, that's just some cool fun facts. So I knew the mouth was one of the biggest problems here, and so I deleted the mouth, the inner mouth, and I thought, okay, we got to redo this. So something's not working here. So I just decide, well, what kind of pieces can I use? And I'm trying to fit them in, trying to test them out. Like, how do I make a lip shape? And I want to make like a kissy lip, because that'll probably help. And, you know, now she's not going to be roaring, but what can you do? Her pose is still pretty roaring. Now I was trying to get the corner of the lips to look right, but there just isn't good enough shapes for the corners of the lips without it looking kind of weird. So we just went with this ovally kind of kissy lip mouth look, and I'm just trying to fill it in, see what I can do. It's a little bit too straight. She's just kind of like got this, she doesn't have a smile or anything going on, but so we go in there and we make some small adjustments. I thought the nose was still too big, so we shrink down the nose a bit more. And now we can start seeing that she's looking a little bit less atrocious and a little bit more fun and friendly. So I just want to try and shape that a bit, give her a little bit more shape to her mouth so that she doesn't look too plain. And I'm just trying to get all these mouth pieces fitting properly so that it looks like she has kissy lips. And it works out, I think. It's not bad. It's not the best. I don't want to overthink it and spend too much time on it. So we're just going with it. And I think this is not too bad. So we got our little kissy lips in, and I think she looks a little bit better now. So I'm cool with it. She's looking pretty decent. And yeah, I just took an overall look at her. And now we're going to go into painting her. So I'm looking at the other Yeti going, all right, well, how do I do this? So we're just going to fill her. We're going to do our base coat of white all across her body. Get rid of all that stone rock feel. Make her feel more like a snowman. and then we're going to go in there and add more details. So I take down the pressure, the level of detail down to the lowest, take the brush down really small, and I'm just adding in shadows to the different areas where she has definition and cracks. Her butt crack, her hips, the bottom, their underneaths, and just adding a little bit of shadow so it looks like there's a little bit of definition there to help the geometry out a little bit. Just using texture to help the geometry shape. And then paint the bottom of her feet so she's separated from the snow. And then just going in there, adding more definition to the arms around the biceps, the triceps, the elbows, the wrists, doing it to the other side of the arm as well. Having camera issues. Then I want to paint the inside of the palms so they're not furry, nice and bare. And that helps it look pretty cool. And then I want to do the same to her abdomen. And with him, I started realizing this later on. It makes it look like she has like a furry abdomen by using a lower pressure. So I think I go right to bare. I want her to have a bare abdomen. And that ends up giving it a much better look and feel. And I'm just going in there adding more details around the little joints and muscles in the backs of the kneecaps. And filling in her face a little bit here. Then I wanted to play around with the hair. And I thought, well, does the grass work? And I thought, no, let's go with the cracked icicles. And this, because that's what we used for his fur, yeah, the males. So I thought, well, if this is going to be the only fur on her, then it's a perfect place to use it. So it really gives it that kind of hair feel, but her hair is made out of ice. So it's really unique, and it adds a lot of character to her, I think. And yeah, so her hair is made out of icicles. So I'm just filling it all in here, and yeah, I thought it looked really cool. It gives a really nice effect, really makes her hair stand out from the rest of her body. It separates it from the rest of the geometry. It accentuates the little divots that I did there, and it looks great. And I'm having camera troubles because of the cliff behind her, and darn was it ever a struggle. I fiddled with that for a while, and there we go. So her hair's all painted in, and it's really popping from the top of her head. You can really, feels like dreadlocks now. So I'm actually really happy with the way it's starting to look after doing some painting. And then I started thinking, well, she can't have her herself exposed here, so we're gonna have to make some sort of like a bra. So make it friendly and all age appropriate. So I thought maybe we could use some of that icicles as the outside of the bra area. I do change that later. We got to add a belly button because he's got a belly button and nipples on him. So with her, we're going to cover up the nipples and we're going to add in a belly button. So to kind of make the bra feel like it's actually on there, I wanted to paint the stomach full in, so the stomach is bare, leading right up to the bra, so that you could see that her chest is clearly covered up, because otherwise it would be bare. So the bareness stops because she's wearing a piece of clothing. And I thought that would help. Now I'm thinking, well, it's not enough, so I need to make that bra, or I should say top, it's really just a top, feel more accentuated. So why don't we build in kind of like an outline to the top. So I used the new icing bits to kind of make a rim for the top. And I'm just trying to fit it in. There's a lot of fiddling here, and it was quite a pain in the butt, to be honest. I mean, it's not the most fun thing to watch, but it's part of the process, and it had to be done. So we're just fiddling, getting all these shapes in, trying to get it all in and fit it in all around. This bit's a bit boring, but I mean, it is what it is. And I mean, got her to where she needed to be. I don't think that piece is... I started playing around with some of the other pieces and getting it to fit. Sorry, I had to drink some water. My throat is drying up talking like this for 20 minutes straight. So Yeah, we're just doing the same old thing. I mean, I think this is going to go on for like a minute here. We're almost done. We're almost through it. And I think this really helps kind of make it feel like she's wearing a top. And yeah, pretty cool, I guess. And then in the back of my head, I was thinking you could do, like, I was looking at those shapes. There's so many things you could do that are just hilarious. And you know, you could use the ice tips for make it feel a little bit cold and nipply out with the ice tips, the frosting tips. But I got to keep it age appropriate, so we're not doing that. But I did have all these hilarious ideas going through my head while I was doing this. So just thinking of silly things to keep myself sane while I build a freaking top for a female Yeti. I mean, what am I doing with my life, guys? This is absolutely crazy. Nonetheless, it's all in the holiday spirit, guys. So we're having fun. So there it is. We've got the trim all the way around, and a top would not be a top without a strap. So now we got to add in a strap around the back, and this process goes a little bit faster because we're just going in a straight line, but we still want to hug it to the back of the body and just lead it all the way around. I think this really helps sell it as a top, and now we have, you know, no nudity in our snowmen. So it gets a pass on all ages, appropriate. There we go. So almost done here. And I had an idea in the back of my head where I could do something for the little strappy strap thing at the back. So I'll do that here next. And it just the little touches. So check this out. Go grab a little bow and shabam. Put a bow on it. There you go. Cool. So now she's got her thing there. And then here I want to add a different texture to it, so it's different from the rest of her body. So they have this kind of granule snow. It's a little bit different than the rest of the snow. You can see here it's a little bit grainy, and I figured that could pass as like a top material. And it is different than the rest of the snow, so it stands out a little bit differently. I mean, it is still white, but if you look up closely, you can tell that it's clearly made out of a different material than the rest of her. So that really helps sell it a little bit further, those final touches. And then I'm just trying to add a little bit more bareness around the chest and face, and then paint it in and fill it in. And then just testing things to see, you know, try and make the top pop a little bit more. That way it looks like a top. And then I just smooth it out a little bit. And there we go. You know, she's pretty much done. And I'm comparing her to him, seeing if there's anything else I can add in terms of texture. And at this point, you know, I'm having a hard time feeling like I can't really add much else. And then other than this, like the final touches, because she needs to have a little bit of something defining where her face begins and where her face ends. And this is what I did for the male Yeti. So I used these little icing tips that you're supposed to build for the tiles, I suppose, on the gingerbread houses. And I rotate them around her face and make it so that that's the end to her face. Now we don't do it all the way up because she's got her hair kind of covering her forehead, so it doesn't really need it. So we just do the under rim, and I think that was good enough. I think that that kind of really sells her. So I slow everything down to a regular speed here, and this is essentially the end of the video where we're just getting a grand look at her in all of her glory, and she's finished, I'd have to say. Now, there might be some things that I think of later where I go in and add some final touches or maybe clean it up a little bit or reshape some things, but overall, I think she looks pretty prominent and she's got a pretty good, strong pose. She's hanging over the cliffside, kind of like I'm the queen of the Yeti Land, and she does have some feminine features. She looks pretty girly, so we pulled it off at the end of the day. So now we got mom and pop. We did it. Now, I think what I haven't for the next episode, I believe I'm going to start making some baby Yetis, some little tiny minis, and we're going to start playing around with that so that we can have an army. We got mom and pop. We need the babies. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this series, please smash that like button. If you're new, please subscribe. And let me know what you guys think of this craziness down in the comments below. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next episode.